Three, two,
Okay. Recording's on. This is the Scio Township Zoning Board of Appeal. Regular meeting for August 21st, 2025. I'll call the meeting to order. Mr. Shields, would you call the roll?
yes, off,
Here.
Raymond here. Walsh,
Present.
Shields present, Nolan here.
Everybody is here. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. And I would solicit a motion in that regard unless somebody wants to make a change.
Move to adopt.
Second.
A motion to adopt made by Ms. Ramey, seconded by Mr. Walsh. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against. The agenda is adopted. Communications or correspondence. I don't think I have any. Does anybody have any correspondence or? Nothing?
Nope.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the swearing in of persons giving testimony during a public hearing. And I understand there's two folks in the audience. Are you both planning to speak?
Yes, my son.
Are you both planning to speak?
Yes, sir.
Would you both stand up, raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony in these proceedings will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, sir. Okay, great. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing at this time. It's for variance number 25007, Jennifer Domeland. Am I pronouncing that correct?
It's Demland
Dumbland?
with an E, yeah.
All right. 1835 South Parker Road, H-08-31-300-005 to allow construction of a new home with a front yard setback of 32 feet instead of the required 50 feet. Also to allow the existing home to remain on the property during construction of the new home and to be demolished once the new home is complete. Let me explain what the hearing will consist of. After I open the public hearing by announcing the subject of the appeal and the petition by name and case number and specified request and general location, I will summarize the procedures and rules to be followed during the hearing. The first thing I'll do is call upon the petitioner or the petitioner's representative to present statements in support of the appeal along with any supporting evidence. The petitioner, his or her agent or attorney may present his or her case, including presenting witnesses on his or her behalf. And after that, members of the ZBA will report on any site inspections and any conversations with the petitioner they may have had. Next, members of the public who support the petitioner may speak and any correspondence is read. After that, members of the public who oppose the petitioner may speak and correspondence is read. The chairperson may permit the petitioner a rebuttal within limits set by myself. Upon motion, the public hearing will close or it will be continued to a specific time and date. if the hour is late, or additional pertinent information must be obtained, after which time the board will deliberate amongst themselves and may decide the issue tonight. So without further ado, I'll ask the petitioner to come up to the table here and explain what the situation is and why you would request a variance. And you
Basically.
can sit down if you like.
Just
You're
felt more
not.
comfortable
It's up to
standing.
you.
That's fine, doesn't matter. The current house is,
And just introduce yourself on the record.
oh, I'm
please.
sorry, Jennifer Demland, 1835 South Parker Road, Ann Arbor, 4103.
Thanks.
My son and I are looking to build a ranch home, single story, because of me being a disabled veteran. The older I get, the harder it is for me to go up and down stairs. So we decided to build a ranch house and at least go through that process.
Can I ask you to stop just for a moment? Do you need to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say something.
Because it's really not in the order that I read, because we don't include that. So let's stop
Okay.
right now
It just-
before we go any further. I'm gonna just ask you to stop just for a moment. We do have a matter to discuss.
I don't think it's a significant matter, but I know Jeff. And, I don't think, I have no personal interest.
And she is the petitioner.
Yes. And I'm comfortable weighing in on whatever the decision is tonight. I don't think it poses a conflict for me.
Okay, so you just know her.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
According to our rules of procedure, particularly section 7, conflict of interest, ZBA members shall declare a conflict of interest and abstain from participating in a hearing or deliberations on a request when the ZBA member or members, relative or other family members involved in the request, or if the ZBA member has a business or financial interest in the property involved, or a business or financial interest in the applicant's company, agency, or association, or when the ZBA member owns or has financial interest in neighboring property. None of those things are obviously involved here. The last one is this: there is a reasonable appearance of conflict of interest as determined by the ZBA member declaring such conflict. However, declaring a conflict of interest should not be used as a means of avoiding a difficult or uncomfortable decision. The ZBA member declaring a conflict of interest should state the nature of the conflict to the ZBA, and the ZBA shall consider a motion to excuse the declared member through the vote. And then if formally excused, there's certain things that have to be done. So let's open that up for any discussion before we proceed.
I don't see that as a conflict of interest, assuming you think you can make an impartial decision.
I don't either.
I agree.
And just for the record, Ms. Noel, you can set aside any feelings that you may have on a personal level for the applicant and make a decision based upon our rules without any bias or prejudice in any fashion. All right, well, then I'd solicit a motion to deny that a conflict exists, so we move along.
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved by Mr. Wells, seconded by Ms. Ramey to deny any declaration of conflict of interest, or actually deny that there is a conflict of interest.
I have a question. Does this need to be?
Absolutely, this should be in there somewhere. Take your time. So we have a motion to deny a conflict and to allow the matter to proceed. Any discussion of that? Then let's call the roll, Patrick.
Okay, Ramey,
I support the motion.
Walsh,
I support the motion.
Shields, I support the motion. Can she vote?
She's probably going to abstain, so why don't you ask her?
You abstaining?
I'll go along with abstaining. I wasn't going to though, but that's okay.
Logical.
It's okay.
And my answer is yes. So, the motion, is deny, or I agree with the motion. It's probably the way of doing it. So, the motion, carries and we'll move along with the participation of Ms. Knoll. So we're back, Ms. Dumlin, to you again, so please continue on.
I realize that the property is a very odd shape. And that's kind of why we're asking for a variance, not meeting the current zoning requirements. My builder has been out to the house, a couple dozen times just to see what could work. Unfortunately, we have a telephone pole right smack in the middle of the property, which also kind of changes matters. DTE has said they've been out at my house. They said it would cost $20,000 for me to move that pole.
Can I stop you right there?
Yes, sir.
I understand in your application, you report that they have given an estimate of $20,000 to move it. Do you have that in writing?
No,
Because that's a lot of money, and
I can kind of give you the reason what the woman from DT, my planner, told me.
we're into a little hearsay at that point.
Yeah.
You know, I really like to hear it from DTE, but I mean, I understand, but anyway, continue on, please.
Yeah, so the pole does, is in the way. So we've tried to move the boundaries of the house the best we could, and the 32 feet is the best we can do because my property is so narrow. Yeah, it's been a long process trying to figure out how we are gonna make this work.
If I can add, I would like.
Would you come up here and introduce yourself for the record,
My name
please?
is Tyler Demland. I am the son of Jennifer Demland. As far as the property that we would be assuming, we are increasing closer towards the variance of 50 feet. The current setback of the house is only 15 feet. We're hoping that the township would recognize that there is a slight improvement given the condition of the sliver of land that we are occupying. That's just something that I wanted to consider.
Okay.
Any questions?
Go ahead, Ms. Roman.
Were the property dimensions that you have, was that the dimension of the property when you bought it?
Yes, ma'am.
And was the house, the current house there when you bought it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, those both pre-existed your,
Correct.
okay.
When did you buy it?
2010.
Okay. Do you know when the house was built?
1870.
How do you know that?
I went to the Dexter Museum and pulled up all my records. I'm the second owner. So that was pretty easy to kind of figure out how to do my tracing.
It's in 1870.
1870.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mr. Luan, are you here?
Let me get you on.
Yes, I am here. Took me a while, but I'm here.
Well, good for you. Welcome. Haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen you guys for a while.
So this is pre-existing non-conform structure. And possibly a lot. I'm a little unclear on that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell from the readily available township records when this lot was created. It doesn't, I think as the applicant alluded, there's not a lot of history. I didn't realize she was only the second owner, but I guess that would make some sense because there's not a lot of history in the BSNA file of the township. So I don't know if, I don't know when this lot was created in the sort of odd fashion that it's created. Calling it,
Okay.
definitely a non-conforming home, but
Okay. In the future, for my benefit and for the rest of the ZBA members, I'd like to be able to see clearly in your descriptions of all of these places, if there is a nonconformity, let's put it right up front so we all know. This one I sort of figured, but
yeah,
it's really not mentioned in your report to any degree.
okay.
So-
Duly noted. Yep.
But Ms. Ramey, I didn't want to be accused of cutting you off. You finished at this point?
My only other question is, you're intending to try and live in the existing home while you build the new one?
Correct.
How, after the new home is completed, how long do you think it will take you to arrange to have the old one demolished?
There's a lot of uncertainties on that property since when it was split, before it was all of the corner of Scio Church and Parker Road back in the 1800s. We're hoping, depending on the timing of the build, once we're enclosed, we're hoping within a year. We have a lot of unknowns, so I would think within a year. It also depends on the seasons. I have a lot of thousands of dollars worth of plants that I want to have spaded out, some of my trees that I planted 15 years ago, and have them just scooted over to the new property. I've already contacted the tree company, and a lot of the perennials I can do myself. So if it's in the middle of winter, that's not possible. So we're looking at spring and fall when at least the trees can be transplanted properly. So it's a guess. So I'm saying about a year. Just there's so many unknowns. We're gonna have a new well drilled also. Hopefully that goes fine too, so.
Okay.
Are you using a new septic too?
No, we just had that, I just had my septic people out 3 times and everything is fine. We're gonna have it, I talked to James over at the Washtenaw County permits, and we have to have it tested. We're gonna have it pumped out, obviously, but it was put in just before I moved in. So it's still,
Okay,
Good.
it wasn't clear from, and the only reason I do it, that there's a handwritten chart in the materials. Is that prepared by you?
is it a hand drawing of it? No, that's the builder.
Well, okay, another thing, Mr. Luan. Hello, Doug.
Yeah, yeah, listening. Yes.
It's very difficult to read these drawings. This one did not copy off very well at all. And it really should be enlarged so that we can read everything clearly. I mean, you know what page I'm talking about here?
Yep. I'm looking at it on my computer right now.
So I'll just note that in passing for future reference. And I think that any applicant for a variance of this type is gonna have to present a drawing that's easily readable. And that we can, go through it before having to do it at a meeting. And we understand it. There are just certain things that are difficult for me to read. So is this drawing to scale? You know,
As far as I know, he did a 1/4 inch.
and who's he, by the way?
Oh, Harold Bruchette, Choice Home Designs.
Okay. Anybody else have questions at this point?
Doug, I have a question.
Okay.
You say that it's somewhat unusual for somebody to stay in the home while the construction is happening.
Yes.
Can you provide some definition of somewhat unusual?
Over time, over the last, time that I was doing the zoning administration for the township, which was over 25 years, I probably saw 2 or 3 of these during that time. Doesn't come up very often. And that was my point there. I can't give you an exact number, but it's
That's close enough.
yeah, it's very, very infrequent that someone's actually living in the house. And they have come to the zoning board of appeals before. So if you don't remember it, it's been a number of years since the last one came before the zoning board of appeals.
Thanks. It's pretty interesting.
What, 1870?
No.
No. Couple of clarifications. Again, this is dealing with this drawing. So there's a dot here with a line drawn to it. I think it says existing power pole. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And then right next to it, there's a arrow pointing to overhead power lines, DTE.
Correct.
And those 2 little dotted lines?
Yeah, the trajectory of those power lines segment the property.
When you say segment, what do you mean?
It's cutting across the available land there. So that's where it's diagrammed to just show you the direction in which the power lines are proceeding.
Okay. Who owns the property immediately to the east of yours? Is that yours at all? Is that your property, man?
Property,
Yeah, right to the east.
I think it's the Renchlers.
Okay, but it's not yours or
No,
anybody's.
sir.
Okay,
It's farmed, so it's a preserved land there. But
Yeah,
Ryan
yeah,
Rentschler, the Rentschler family
okay.
does that.
Then on this, again, at this drawing, there's a indication of new well with an arrow and then a circle with an X in it. That's where your new well's gonna go?
I went to Cribley and he wants to go farther south because we have more land that way. This was
Okay.
done before I talked to Cribley.
Okay. And then it says something about 50 feet or 30 feet proposed something home? Or, I'm not sure.
Talking the bottom left. I'm sorry.
It's right
bottom
to the,
center.
where it says new well, just go down a half an inch and over to the right, there's a distance, it's either 30 feet or 50 feet, and then
It's
a
50 feet.
what is that? Is that like the distance from something to the well?
I think this is your proposed septic tank to the well, 50 feet.
I know. Yeah, we meet the septic, I call them the lids, but the septic to the well.
Well, that's
It's 50.
these 2 rectangles right next to each other. You got 2 tanks there, it looks like.
3.
And then there's one that says
Two, correct.
proposed septic.
Oh,
tank.
is that, okay, so that says. Do you understand? I can't read.
We also
Here,
understand that he has very bad writing.
Explanation.
Yeah.
and
Okay, so I just
Explanation.
wanna see what's, I'm
Coming
just trying to
together.
figure this out. And then there's. That's it. Next to where it says proposed. Tank or whatever it is, and it's pointing to a dotted rectangle, you see what I'm saying? All right, now,
Maybe
just
that's
to the
the-
right of that, what does it say?
I'm just saying maybe this is.
Those are the existing tanks.
Existing tanks.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 existing.
This
Nice.
Is
here.
that what this says?
That's what I believe it says. It's pointing to these two existing tanks. So essentially,
Okay. So, and your proposed house is actually looks like 80 feet from the property line to the east? Is that right?
That's,
No, I'm looking at the, see,
I can't, I don't have my glasses, so I can't see that. It's gone up there, so. You're gonna have to read
It looks like,
that.
it looks like 50 feet
that
the
was
south
Doug.
boundary, 50 feet to
Doug,
the
can
south
you put
boundary.
it back on?
Yeah, I
Thanks.
didn't know if you guys could see that.
Yeah, we could.
Better than we can
We
see.
could, yeah. It's just a little far away.
Talk about this
I'll
one.
go up there and point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That says 80.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were referring to the other side of the house. Yes, that's 80 feet from the property line,
Can you
correct?
go up there and stand? And-
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is 80 feet from the property line here. The pole for the DTE is here. They require a 32, what's the DTE's requirement for
To put
building the house?
10 feet.
10 feet, so we have a 10-foot setback from the existing pole. Which is why we have space for potentially a future deck and future garage. That's why they're all outlined or dotted, including the proposed tank there as well.
all right, and then it's there's a dimension, I don't know. The line that runs from the new proposed house to the south there, and it has writing on it that I can't read, looks like 50 feet or something to south boundary or something?
That's what I read.
Yeah, 50 feet
What
to the
is-
south boundary.
But what does then go down beneath there? It says 650 feet to south property boundary?
The existing boundary.
What's the difference between those two? I don't understand.
One is
I
from the original house, the other is from the proposed house.
Got it.
And it's not 50 something, it's 560
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I think it, yes, I think it says 567 and this is 650.
Oh, yeah.
Now if you go south, you run into wetlands pretty quickly from at least my visit from your house. So you don't have a lot of south space to move
Correct,
because of the wetlands.
correct. And also the septic field is down at one end
Right,
and
but
the
that's,
abandoned one is on the other end.
that's further down.
Correct.
You run into wetlands before you get to the septic
Correct.
field.
Yeah, so there's the parcel is very oddly shaped, but also the usable land is, difficult for us to kind of fit this in the parameters. I know that Doug mentioned that the was unusual to have us stay in the existing home. The primary reason for the request was because my mother is a disabled veteran. She's 100% disabled. We would have to displace her not only once, but twice, in order for her to incur additional expenses for either a temporary trailer. These are things that, as I am helping with funding this build as well, to make sure that things are capable for her. That is the reason why we requested the variance to stay in the home. After the new home is established, there will be no power, water, any sort of services to the previous or the current home. There will be no one occupying that dwelling as well. So
Up until you get a certificate of occupancy, I assumed, Doug, is that, Mr. Luan, is that correct?
Yeah, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just trying, if we decide to allow the existing house to remain during construction of the new house, I'm trying to get a baseline for when the new house is gonna be, powered up and ready to live in. Is that at the time of the certificate of occupancy issuance?
Yes, you could, you certainly could make a condition, if you guys are,
That's,
want to approve this, you can make a condition that within 30 days of certificate of occupancy or prior to certificate of occupancy, the house has to be either raised or, made unlivable, water turned, something like that. But I would probably say that the home has to be removed at some point.
Okay, but the certificate of occupancy is issued when there is power, there's
Yeah, it's ready to go.
septic, there's the wells in place, there's water, right?
Yes, yeah, it's ready. You're ready to occupy. I mean,
Right.
as soon as you get the certificate of occupancy, you could move in the next day.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, other questions?
The 32 feet noted at the setback, that's from a proposed front porch. It looks like it's essentially 40 feet from the building itself.
Correct.
Okay.
So at this time, we haven't made decisions on a front porch or back deck or attached garage. We did present them in the outline here that we're looking at just for future purposes, just to make sure that we are doing our due diligence for future permits and things like that.
Okay. Well, I guess the only stumbling block to this whole thing that you're requesting, in my opinion at least, is the cost of removing the pole or the lines. To me, it seems like whenever you have a new house, you have to take into account, electricity, obviously. And either you put it in yourself or whatever changes need to be made, you're gonna have to deal with that. So, and that's what it boils down to, this $20,000 quote. 20,000 to me is a lot of money, and I'd probably be in your favor on that alone. But 1,000? No. 2,000? Probably not. 3,000? 4,000? I don't know.
This is to actually move the existing lines. This isn't to connect the house.
It might not be, but the problem is we don't have a
No,
cost.
I
We don't have a
recognize
cost.
that. Yeah.
So how do we address that? That's my only stinking, 20,000, I grant you, I'm in favor of the variance. At least the one. I don't care about the other too much. So it's really coming down to the cost of moving I know that Detroit Edison probably is not well known for being, communicable. So, and I don't doubt that somebody said $20,000 to move this, but they say a lot of things.
Yeah, I can provide an email for her, but I don't have.
Well, if you had an email that said, this is how much it would cost,
I
I'd
just
take
have-
that.
Yeah, she calls me. We have minimal email contact, minimal phone contact.
Well,
We
I'm
were
not
open-
sure that you're any different from a lot of other people.
Right, we were open to the idea of moving the pole originally. That was something that we would have been able to expense if you were assuming $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 was something manageable. Upon the verbal quote of 20 grand, we kind of said, well, we don't really have we're not in that game. Especially because that existing pole has had issues, it's been leaning, there's probably 4 or 5 poles down
In my ditch during 2020, I remember coming down with my mast, they dropped off, I think there's 2 telephone poles in my ditch in the right of way, but I went down there and asked, and he goes, oh, we're replacing the 2 poles on your property. Well, 5 years later, they're still in the ditch.
Well,
But she didn't know anything about that. She was new, so I just kind of said, forget about it. Yeah, my builder talked to her and I talked to her and she gave us the same $20,000 verbal. And we just said no.
Do you have anything with your, do you have anything in writing from your builder that, like, you know, a calculation of cost that has that $20,000?
No, everything was done on the phone. Cause she said she came out to my property last week, but she hasn't returned any phone calls. Cause I wanna, if the pole's going to stay, I wanna run the electric underneath the ground. Yeah, I've had continuous problems with that one pole. Leaning, ripping it off of my house, you know, my cost.
She's replaced multiple appliances
Well,
because
you've
of.
got two poles there that you could just put there. Just bring them over and put them in.
I suggested it, but
No, I'm kidding, of course, but.
I'm sure the guy that mows the easements, would really love those poles to be out of that ditch. But yeah, I don't really have an answer for what DTE is doing now. So we're working around that pole.
Are we opening for discussion or?
Not yet. Does anybody have any other questions at this point?
I don't have any other questions.
Don't have any.
All right, is there anything else that you folks would like to say at this point as far as presenting evidence in support of your request?
I don't believe so. You?
No, I think the only thing that I would like to add is, I know. Mr. Luan had mentioned a 30-day proposal for demolition. We have contacted the demo services. We've got quotes for that. The hangup on the timeline of things is because this house is built in the 1800s. There are pieces of the property that my mother would like to preserve. There's beams and original architecture that we want to properly remove. As well as, like I mentioned, there will be no occupancy or any sort of power running to this establishment. It's not an eyesore by any means. I don't think it's causing any issues if it were to stay for the necessary amount of time.
Mr. Luan, do you have any insight as to the DTE cost estimate here? You have more experience in this than I would.
I do not. I tried not to even really broach the expense issue. I just looked at it as it's a feature on the property that the applicant didn't create. And I think in and of itself, it's a a hindrance to what they would like to do, regardless of the cost. But I try not to broach the cost in my report to any great degree. The way I looked at it is it's a feature on the site that's there. It's been there for a long time. The applicant didn't have anything to do with it. It is impacting what they can do with their property without having to move it. So, but to answer your question, I do not have any insight to what this would actually cost.
Okay,
I would note that relocating something like that, or relocating power lines, is not only an engineering problem, but sometimes that means that new easements have to be obtained, negotiated, and so on. And I think that may be part of what adds to expense.
well, that line goes all the way down pretty much.
Right, we're speculating. All I'm saying is that there are other factors that may be in play here.
No, I do understand. You know, it's just. Okay,
So let's move on. We can discuss it when we get to this.
Okay, let's have the various members of the ZBA report on any site inspection or conversations. Let's go around the table.
I visited the site and just looked at it, didn't speak with anybody there.
I did not visit the site this time, but I've been there in the past.
Okay, I did not specifically visit that property, for purposes of this hearing, although I drove by it several times since then. I drive by it all the time.
Did you honk?
I live down there, so, I know what the deal is. So, and then no conversations, obviously.
I visited the property Monday and I did not meet or discuss anything with the applicant or any neighbors.
All right, Mr. Shields?
Same, visited but didn't talk to anybody.
Okay. All right, next item on our procedure is whether there are any members of the public who support the petitioner may speak. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak in support of the petitioner? Okay, no one on Zoom, and there's no one here in the room. So next, are there any members of the public who oppose the petitioner desiring to speak at this time?
No hands.
No hands raised, last chance. All right, there's nobody here in the room either. So there's really no need to go to the next step, which is permitting the petitioner rebuttal. So I guess it's solicit a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Ramey, seconded by Mr. Shields to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, the public hearing is closed. At this point, the ZBA will deliberate the request. Mr. Walsh, you're about to say something.
Well, no one else was, so I'm in support of the variance. I think the odd shape of the lot. The ask isn't that bad. If we look at 36,404 and talk about 5B, which is substitutions, we're substituting a non-conforming structure in a better spot than the existing non-conforming structure. Yes, it would be nice to have the details on the power line, but for me, that's not a deal breaker. I think the request, given the odd shape of the lot, the constraint on moving it elsewhere due to the power lines, due to the wetlands south, and given the fact that they intend to live in the existing home, so that area isn't usable either. They're in a tight spot. For me, this just says I can agree with living with the home. I can agree with the placement. It's not ideal given the setbacks, but I'm willing to make an exception. And I'm willing to put conditions ultimately on how long the existing house, once the certificate of occupation is granted for the new structure, can be. I don't think it's an immediate. I don't think that's reasonable, but I think there's a short period of time with demolition in another period of time, recognizing that there's some historical value to parts of the existing home.
Well, can we?
That's where I'm going.
Yeah, no, I understand. Can we, let's separate out this, the primary question is, the setback, and then let's deal with that if and when we have to come to it. You have any?
Yeah, I've been chuckling for the last few days about, this is the first time we've ever had somebody requesting a variance, which brought the property closer to what we want. I don't,
Well,
I've 4 or 5
actually-
years, so that's the first time that's
No, we've
happened.
had it before.
We have that.
Yeah, we've had, it's rare,
But it makes it easier.
I agree with Bob on all of this.
okay.
And I agree too. Everything that you said, Bob, I agree with.
And I agree too. Bob, you did a good job
Yeah,
summarizing.
yeah, and I do agree with everything that's been said. And my only thing is, I just really, I'm not gonna make DTE, say terrible things about them in public, but We could if we wanted to, and I understand that it just sounds kind of typical, that they say, yeah, 20,000, without, you know, really explaining, and I think they probably do drawings for this. And I think maybe the next time around, if we have something similar like this, Mr. Luan, you might wanna advise the applicant, that the ZBA would like to pin down some of this information in writing, if at all possible. Just-
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying here?
Yeah, I do, and I really tried just so you know where I'm coming from. I try to, they said $20,000. We're not supposed to grant variances based on financial hardship. So when someone raises a financial issue, I don't try to even I personally try not to consider it in my reviews, and that's why I really didn't. I think there's enough others. Personally, I think there's enough other stuff here than a $20,000 price tag. And that's one of the reasons I didn't push it, because we're not supposed to consider financial situations anyway.
Well, okay, and why is that?
Because then everyone who wants a variance would use that as a reason to get a variance.
Well, I think it might be a legitimate
And
reason
it's
to do stuff.
and it's in our ordinance, and I think it's in Public Act 110 as well. I mean, we're not supposed to be considering financial circumstances in the granting of a variance.
Well, we can talk about that later. So generally, we're all agreed that allowing a setback is gonna be something we're probably gonna vote for.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about living on the premises while this is all being done.
I think it's a reasonable request. It's similar to what people often do, and the ordinances permit to have a temporary structure on the property. It's really no different than that. It just makes sense to allow it. And I think that we should put a reasonable time limit after a certificate of occupancy is granted for the new place, to have the old place destroyed. I'd suggest 6 months to a year.
After the certificate of occupancy?
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while to schedule the demolition of the house. Presumably.
But the existing house should be cut off from services
Yes.
within a
Yes.
30-day
Sure,
yeah.
period. So that-
Services, that's
But
it.
yeah, the demo, I agree. I would agree with the 6 to 12 months. It gives time to move plans as mentioned by the applicant. It also allows for thoughtful destruction of the home to save the parts that they want.
Right.
And again, I think a 6 to 12 month period.
Well, let's
be 12.
let's zero it down here a
I
little
would
bit.
favor 12.
To me, that you're gonna have a structure that has no heat, no water, no electricity, and you wanna let it sit there for a year?
But you have to consider the seasons.
I am, but
Because-
remember, the certificate of occupancy is not gonna be issued likely in the hard winter. It's gonna be either before or after. It could
We don't know
happen,
that.
yeah,
I don't
it
know
could
that,
happen,
yeah.
but. Geez. But even so, I mean, then you're talking into winter? I don't think so.
Well, it
To get it-
depends on
Get
when,
it demolished.
it depends. It's good, it depends.
And again, it's in the applicant's best interest. Given whatever time
Yeah.
frame we have. And given their desire to remove specific parts potentially, to make sure that. The doors aren't open, the windows aren't broken and
Yeah.
critters are getting in. I mean, the water's has been blown out, so you're not gonna get burst pipes. I'm assuming the applicant is going to make these because they're looking to salvage specific parts. So I'm willing to grant a longer rather than just say, well, bring the bulldozer in and level it.
Right, particularly in order to be able to do it responsibly.
Right. If the house had been built in 1960 versus 1870, I might have a different perspective on it because I'm not sure there's much there.
So I was working on my thoughts on this last few days and I wrote down 6 months. But as I hear about the potential value of the materials in that house, I think it needs an extension to, I would have split the difference in 9 months.
What?
We've been talking about 6 or 12, I would split the difference and say 9 months.
I'm fine with 9 months. I don't have a problem with 12 months either unless someone else
Yeah,
on the board does.
Somebody bring a motion then. I think
Should
that
we-
covers everything. Is there anything else we need to discuss?
So you want a motion to close discussion or?
Oh, no, we're
Just
gonna,
take
yeah,
this
we'll do
through.
that in a second, well. Well, you can bring a motion. That effect closes it.
I will move to approve the variance number 25007, property ID H0831300005 on the application of Jennifer Dumland, 1835 South Parker Road, to reduce the front setback from 50 feet to 32 feet. And to allow occupancy of the existing home during the construction of a new home on the property. Subject to the conditions that we'll put on the variance. As far as findings of fact, what we have found is that the property has unusual dimensions in that it's got a lot of frontage, but is quite narrow, so it reduces the amount of room available for a front setback. The house and the property were both pre-existing. That is to say, these are not conditions that were created by the applicant. There's wetlands to the south that limit the location of the new construction. And there's a power pole in the rear that also makes it impractical to meet the setback. So given the lot shape, the wetlands and the power line, and the location of the existing home, it's really not practical to meet the setback condition. So those are the findings of fact. What we're finding then is that there are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances applicable to the property that do not apply generally to other properties in the same district, that being the shape of the property and the existence of the power pole and the wetlands. The variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right, that being the right to construct a home on the property. The granting of the variance will not be materially detrimental to the public welfare or materially injurious to the property or improvements. We're finding that the granting of the variance will not adversely affect the purpose or objectives of the master plan of the township. And the circumstances or conditions upon which the variance is based do not result from the actions of the applicant. Based on that, I would move to approve.
I support.
Well, what conditions though?
The conditions are the shape of the lot, the
No,
location.
no, I'm sorry, you said
Okay, well, I.
subject to the
Right.
conditions.
Right. The other part of the variance, with regard to continuing to occupy the home, I would move to permit that continued occupancy for the reasons that it is consistent with the township ordinances that already permit living in an accessory structure, a temporary structure. The fact that this is a permanent structure is really doesn't change the principle of it. That's consistent with the idea that an owner should be able to live on the property while constructing new property. I would move that the new home be permitted to remain in existence until 1 year after granting of the certificate of occupancy for the new home.
You mean the old?
I'm sorry, the old home should be allowed to remain until 1 year after granting of the certificate of occupancy for the new home. In other words, the demolition should be completed within 1 year after the certificate of occupancy.
Okay,
And that 1 year deadline would be a condition of the variance.
motion has been made by Ms. Ramey to grant, the request for a variance of a front yard setback of 32 feet. And to allow the, existing home to remain, as a temporary dwelling, for a period of up to 1 year after the issuance of a certificate of occupancy of the new house in order to, allow time for demolition of the property. Is there a second?
I support.
May I
Okay.
go back and amend the record too for one more finding of fact,
Okay.
which is that the new construction will actually reduce the nonconformity. I think
Yes,
Phil
yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
that, but that's significant in, I think, in our reasoning is that the existing house is, I had heard at one point 10 feet, and I thought I read 12 feet or 12 feet from the a 12-foot setback. So this new property will actually increase the setback from what is presently there. So,
Okay, well, with,
thank you.
with that amendment, self-amended,
May I offer an amendment?
motion.
Can we add in the conditions that while the house may remain, the existing dwelling may remain for a year, that there's a period of time after the occupancy of the new structure that the existing house can't be occupied? I would like to say maybe it's 30 days after the certificate of occupancy of the new house. The existing house, while it can remain standing, can't be occupied. So that,
Okay, I would amend the motion to include that as a condition.
So the condition then is 30,
That that within 30 days after the certificate of occupancy for the new house is granted, there will be no further occupancy of the old house.
and then the rest of it is that,
they've got.
the applicant would have up to, 1 year to demolish the,
Yes,
old,
that's right.
structure.
That's right.
I support that.
Okay, our motion by Ms. Ramey, to grant the variance requests with, conditions. Seconded by Ms. Knoll. Any discussion? Okay, call the roll, but
Yes.
Shields, yes. Noel,
Yes.
Love,
yes.
Ramey,
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Stay here for just a moment. Let me give you a, written, decision. This is the one.
You get a lot of sandhill cranes out there?
Yes. A lot of swans.
Really?
For the sandhill cranes, yeah, that's my alarm clock in the morning flying over the house.
So that
time does the alarm go off?
About 6:15 sometimes.
It's not bad.
Mostly deer.
Mhm.
They like
Deer.
the south part of my property. They bed down there They're constantly running through. Maybe on occasion.
And let me give you another one while you're right here, Patrick, that, you can
Just give me a friend.
okay.
And that says granted subject to conditions.
Yes, it's, it's in the usual form, with check mark with the conditions stated on it.
Appreciate that very much.
We appreciate you all for your
Good-
consideration.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Next item, on the agenda is, old business. Of which I know of none except. And looking at the minutes, I see that I may have neglected a responsibility that I probably had to request the township attorney to give an opinion as to what to do in a case where there are only 3 members of the CBA hearing a matter, but there is no vote beyond 2 to 1. What is the result of that?
Right.
And I forgot to do it. How do I get that before Orion?
You can
Cause I can't
request-
say,
You can
hey, do
request it or
this.
I can request it.
You can request it.
Is that how
Well,
you want me to do it?
well, yeah.
Okay, that's
Good.
fine.
Well, I mean, you're,
That's fine.
as a board member, you can spend money. I don't think I can. So,
Tell me the issue one more time.
well, I'll probably send you a
Okay,
note
why
on
don't
it,
you do
but,
that?
but,
And
but
then I
it's, but it's the
can-
idea, this
It's in
came
the
up.
minutes in May for training.
Yeah, it's from the training. What happens when you have just 3 members hearing a matter and the vote is 2 to 1, either for or against? What's the result of that vote? In other words, do we have to go to another hearing date and hopefully some other warm body will show up that will save us from this dilemma?
Yeah, I think that came up as the 2 to 1, because it's 2 isn't a quorum, they can't approve it, but 2 also can't deny it. Was the question, can 2 deny it? Non-approval doesn't mean denial, it just theoretically, and that's the question.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the only other old business I have. Does anybody have any other old business?
Nope.
Okay, approval of minutes, is the next item. We have the minutes of February 20th, 2025 in our stuff here.
I would move to approve those.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion, motion to approve by Ms. Ramey, seconded by Mr. Walsh. First of all, any discussion of this? I went through them. It's really, I couldn't find that.
Yeah, who prepared these?
Well, they're
They're a
prepared, but,
great job.
Yes.
yeah, I know, it's same.
Yeah,
Same one
person
we've had
normally
for a
does
long
our
time.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
She's
very
really good,
meticulous.
These are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really regret not having been there because it's a lot of interesting topics.
Okay, we have a motion, seconded, as stated, Mr. Shields wants to call the roll on that.
Noel,
Yes.
Shields, yes, Walsh,
Yes.
Ramey,
Yes.
Hoth,
Yes. Here it is. Actually, it's right here. Page 2. The minutes of,
May 21st.
yeah, May 21st, page 2 of May 21st. The 4th bullet.
Right here, yeah.
See, no,
This question.
yes,
Opposed to
yes,
this.
that's the question.
Take this page out.
All right, so we have the approval of minutes of the meeting of May 21st, 2025. Any discussion on that, corrections?
I didn't say anything. Move to accept the minutes as published.
What's that?
I
Second,
move to accept the minutes as published.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Walsh, seconded by Ms. Ramey to approve the minutes of May 21st, 2025. Any discussion? Corrections, anything? All right, call the roll, please.
Wolf,
Yes?
Raymond,
Yes.
Walsh,
Yes.
Shields, yes, no.
Yes.
Okay, so the minutes are approved. Next, item on the agenda is, other business, including report of planning commission liaison, including, there are various reports from Carlisle Wortman on, planning and zoning activity. This is the first ones we've seen, and Doug, this is a really good inclusion here, and I hope we do it in the future as well.
Okay.
It gives us an awful better picture of what's going on around here.
Laura's doing these on a regular basis.
Okay,
And they're excellent.
yeah, they really are. They are. I read through with interest on all of them, so.
I will let Laura know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please
we
do.
appreciate those.
Um,
Can I add one item?
yes, please.
We did have a meeting on Tuesday between the Board of Trustees and the Planning Commission and a few members of the DDA, or the ex-DDA, to talk about future vision for Jackson Road. So this is still an ongoing discussion of what do we think we should be doing as a township for Jackson Road with short-term, medium-term, and long-term actions. There was voting on a whole set of things. I haven't seen the results yet, but this will be an ongoing item for the foreseeable future. And the reports are in the meeting deck for the special, was on the Board of Trustees for the special meeting. It was an OHM report and detailed everything we were looking at.
Okay. Appreciate that. Anything else in that regard? Okay, next item on the agenda is public comment. People wishing to address the zoning board of appeals on matters which are not on the public hearing portion of the agenda. Each speaker shall identify him or herself by name, and such oral presentation shall be limited to 3 minutes, except the representative or spokesperson of an organization shall have 5 minutes to address the board, provided that if more than 5 citizens express a desire to speak, the chairperson in his or her discretion may limit the time of comment. I missed that.
No hands.
Yeah. In any event, is there anybody who wishes to make public comment? If you're on Zoom, raise your hand. Nothing there? Okay, and there's nobody here, so that ends the public comment. I would solicit a motion to adjourn if there's nothing further.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Walsh, seconded by Ms. Ramey.
Yes.
To adjourn, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we are adjourned at whatever, eight something.
8:08.
8:08. Thanks, Doug.
You're welcome.